Good Friday. Not just any Good Friday, but the long Good Friday.
Outside of church? You're not crucifying people outside of church, not on Good Friday.
Harold Shand, undisputed king of London's underworld. Now he's setting up the biggest business deal of his career.
Hands across the ocean, right?
To the future.
Someone is out to stop him.
You think of anybody who might have an old score to settle or something? Who's big enough to take you on? Someone, somewhere, knows, right? I want the man who knows. Right. Who fancies what?
Auto, casino, stabbing, a bar blowing up. What is this, a gang war?
No question. Harold and I have no doubt that by tomorrow the problem will be settled.
Walk to the car, Billy, or I'll blow your spine off.
It's not a shooter, is it, Harold?
Oh, don't be silly, Billy. When I come hunting for you with my fingers, I've treated you lot well, even when you was out of order, right? Well, now there's been an eruption. One of my closest friends, he's lying out there in the freezer. And believe me, all of you, nobody goes home until I find out who done it.
What should have been the greatest day of Harold's life suddenly becomes the longest. Suddenly, he's fighting for survival.
You kidding? We got gang war in our hands, right? We already have. Colin's been carved up and I've got a bomb in me casino, and you say nothing unusual?
The long Good Friday. A terrifying nightmare from which there is no escape. The long Good Friday.
Hello again. Welcome to my movie diary. I'm Dave. I'm talking about The Long Good Friday today. It's a film that I've got a long relationship with, and it's one of the great British gangster films, in my opinion. It doesn't get enough love. It should be talked about more often. It's a crime thriller, also a character study. I also enjoy that it's a portrait of London right on the edge of transforming from a fading beauty, I guess, into the modern metropolis, the heart of the financial world in some respects now. So it's a point in time with a great story on top of it. It's got Bob Hoskins in it, who was one of my, I think one of the most watchable guys from the 1980s. It was his decade. He faded away after that, but he was in his element here at the start of the decade. Helen Mirren, in an underrated performance from her, and some other interesting folks that pop up too. What are my some opening thoughts? I think some films don't age. They get harder. This film, to me, feels even stronger today than it did when it came out, because in comparison with what's out there now in this genre, this is an absolute ballbuster. Before we get anywhere near the plot, I do want to talk about the jazz score. It deserves a mention. It's smoky and uneasy, but sophisticated. It constantly, I think, lets me know that something's about to go wrong, and that's what the film's all about. So it starts and finishes with an amazing jazz score. Quick plot summary: Harold Shand, the Bob Hoskins character, he's a powerful London gangster, and he's trying to put together a deal with the American mafia that will move him beyond the traditional London organised crime scene. He's looking towards the future. He wants to legitimise. He's going all Michael Corleone here with his ambitions, and property development he sees as the future for the part of London he's got his eyes on, and he wants respectability. He wants to be taken seriously, and it's all going to plan, or so he thinks. And then up comes this Easter weekend where the film's set, everything starts falling apart. Some associates of his start disappearing. Some bombs are exploding. Some deals start collapsing, and enemies are coming out from all over the place unexpectedly. So look, what starts out as a fairly straightforward story about expansion becomes an epic about survival. And Harold Shand slowly discovers that the world he thought he controlled, he definitely doesn't have control over it anymore. It's not really a gangster film. For me, it's a little bit like, it's got elements of Scarface or I don't know, American Gangster, films where you can see an empire collapsing in real time. So that's my takeaway with this film. Like I said, I've got a long relationship with this one. It came out in 1980. I was aware of it, I think, when I really started getting into films and delving into classic films, or at that time, recent films. Shows my age there. So I was looking forward to catching it when we finally got a VHS player in the later 80s. It was one of the first. It was in that first tranche of films that I hired. I liked it. I liked it from the get-go. Remember watching it with my dad. He liked it as well. And we vibed off that. Haven't seen it for probably, I don't think I've seen it this century. Saw it a few more times in the 90s, I think, and it always held up well. And revisiting it now, the biggest surprise is how well it holds up. And like I said, I think it might actually be better because of its toughness. I love those London locations, especially around the Docklands where a lot of this is set. And I'm interested in that transformation that happened to London, similar to what happened with New York around the same kind of time. The old industry and the old crime and the old power structures are changing, and the urban environment's changing with it. And I like how it's captured in this film. So that's what really stood out. And I think it works in two lanes now, as a gangster thriller and as a fascinating historical snapshot of a London that no longer exists. London's a beautiful city now. Directed by a guy called John Mackenzie. Most folks have probably never heard of him. I'd never heard of him before I started digging into this pod. He does a good job here. He just keeps everything moving along. It's nearly like he manages the film in some ways. He keeps everything grounded. There's no real glamour or romanticism or flashy excess in the film for me. Everything feels real. The violence feels real. No doubt about that. The tension feels real. The criminal world that's depicted in this film felt believable to me, and how it would have been. I think a lot of gangster films celebrate power. This one doesn't. I think it studies power and what that means, and maybe how easily you can lose power. So it looks at that interface there and dismantles it in some ways. I think John Mackenzie does a good job because the restraint is what makes this film so effective. Apart from the obvious set pieces with the bombs exploding. So good job, John. Bob Hoskins, like I said, a real man of the times in the 80s. I mean, most people remember him for Who Framed Roger Rabbit, playing against Jessica Rabbit. That must have been an interesting thing to film. Before coming into this, he'd had some small film roles, TV. After this, his career really takes off, and I always think of him, whenever I see him, I remember the 80s. I remember this film. I remember Mona Lisa, great film with Michael Caine. Roger Rabbit, obviously. He showed up in Mermaids at the end of the decade with Cher. And he really brings Harold Shand bursting out of the screen. Brings so much energy. Bob Hoskins has got that Cockney dynamic. He's short, he's fiery, he's well built. He's balding. Maybe that's why I like him now. He's not simply a gangster in this. He's an entrepreneur with some big ideas. He sees himself as a businessman and a deal maker. He's really a dreamer. He's mixing with the big time now. He's got the American mafia interested, and so he's really under a lot of pressure. What he does brilliantly in this one, he brings confidence, charm. He always brings charm, streetwise intelligence, and definite menace. He's always got that lurking just under the surface. And like a lot of my favorite actors, like Jimmy Caan, De Niro, it's always boiling. he's not a man to take on. He's intimidating. I think this performance really becomes a study in mounting frustration. He can't work out why he's losing control. Why is this happening? It's happening piece by piece. I think by the end of the film, he's really operating at a level that rivals some of the great gangster performances. And when he does lose it, his intensity almost makes Tony Montana seem restrained, the Pacino character in Scarface. Big difference between these films, of course, is that this one feels fairly grounded in reality. All right, Helen Mirren, she's the quiet power in this film. I'm always fascinated to see early Helen Mirren, because I think she only became known to most of us later in life, later in her career. I love seeing her in these earlier roles where she's just, I mean, she's beautiful, but she's fascinating. I feel like she's always holding something back. She is very intelligent. She brings that to the roles. There's an inner confidence, authority, integrity. She possesses all that in this character. I feel like her character, I think the Bob Hoskins character in this is a bit naive. Her character really understands what needs to happen to get this deal done. She's the smartest person in the room. She's managing the gangsters quietly, effectively. He's out there trying to do the action, trying to make things happen, trying to solve problems. Look, maybe this simply illustrates the difference between men and women. She completely holds her own alongside Bob Hoskins in this, because I feel like it is his film and people always think of him with this, so don't forget about her in this role. She does magnificently well. Someone who pops up out of the blue is Pierce Brosnan in a really early appearance. Hardly has any lines. Really very little screen time. Some really menacing parts, though, which is not what we've come to expect from him. He's very noticeable in this. I guess some actors have got that star presence before they become stars. He's one of them. You can already see that he's probably going to be a leading man just because of his looks and his style and his ease on film. I talked about it before. I think the London depicted in this film is brilliant. Love seeing it. It's not the postcard London. This is the real London at the time, working London, transitional London, the Docklands. We'll never see this again on film because it's gone. But it really, the city feels like another character, and I always love seeing that in films. So look, lots of things worked for me with this. The performances by Bob Hoskins in particular, and Helen Mirren now that I'm a bit older and I can appreciate it. The atmosphere is beautiful. It gets built up suspense-wise. The tension ratchets up. You're watching Bob Hoskins running around in circles trying to find out who's pulling the rug out from beneath him. The score, I've touched on it, that jazz gets me every time. Sophisticated and threatening at the same time. Love it. The violence, it's not constant, not excessive. God, it's sudden and shocking when it arrives, like a Tarantino film. Or a Coen Brothers film, for that matter. Some memorable moments in that aspect. There's a wine glass killing that's done really well for the times. It looks realistic. I'm not sure how they pulled that off. Some of the brutal gang reprisals. In the trailer, if you watch it on YouTube, you'll see there's guys hanging from meat hooks. That's pretty intimidating. That's a good trick to use to get some knowledge. The escalating acts of sabotage against Harold Chan's business. Very memorable set pieces. The blowing up of the hotel in particular. In short, I think the violence lands because it feels unpredictable, just like in real life. Supporting cast all do their jobs really well. The one that stood out for me is the Razor's character. One of the most effective henchmen that I've seen. Not loud, not theatrical, intimidating and dangerous. He's a guy not to mess with. He's just. I think they actually found him on the Docklands when they were scouting locations, and they roped him into the film, and he said, "Sure, why not?" So maybe that's why I like him so much. He feels authentic because he's from the area, and he's just being himself. He went on to appear in a lot of films with a similar vibe. So well done to Razors. All right, what doesn't age as well? Got to say it, there's certain dialogue that, certain language which reflects attitudes of the period, sadly. You'll notice them. There's a nasty scene with some blatant racism there. That's sad to watch now, but look, it's 1980. It's depicting probably what those characters would have felt, unfortunately. And look, it still goes on. It's always going to be there. We're just not used to seeing it front and center in a film, so keep that in mind. I don't think it derails the film, but it's just a reminder that this film's obviously a product of its time. So the rewatch reflection for me is, when I first watched it, I looked out for the gang war, the mystery, the violence. Now I really notice the performances, but the tension, the score, some of those more mature aspects. And the older I get, the more impressed I am by films like this, their control, their precision. Everything feels deliberate. Nothing's wasted. Oh, one more thing. I love the pacing. It's perfect. It's 114 minutes, never drags. I like this about this era, that they seem to know how to get running times just right. They're not padded out. It's not 134 minutes or more. It's 114 minutes. Perfect. There's always pressure building somewhere in this film, so it doesn't drag. It's a gangster film. It's really more about ambition, about modernization, about how the gangster world was changing, how London was changing, and a man trying to reinvent himself and struggling. What's going to stay with me? Bob Hoskins' extraordinary performance, the locations, the way the film keeps the suspense maintained throughout. And I really do enjoy Helen Mirren in this one. Doesn't rely on the spectacle. So check it out if you can. It's on YouTube, helpfully. Quite a good version as well. So you can watch it for free. Check it out on an afternoon. If you can, it's well worth the watch. Thanks for listening again. Catch you next time.